Hey, this is Tamara, and I was just going to talk about the proper bike setup when you come to a cycle class so that you're ready to roll. I get a lot of people that come into cycle and they've never been on a cycle bike before, and I know it can be really intimidating. Sometimes they come in late to class and they see the saddle already lowered and they just jump on it and start pedaling. But let me show you how you're going to set up your cycle bike before class so you can start off on the right foot. Most bikes, and every bike is a little bit different. So here, what we're gonna do is loosen up back here. I'm gonna bring the saddle up to my hip, and then I'm gonna make sure that I tighten it down so that it's nice and tight. It's not going anywhere during class. A lot of bikes, you can also raise the handlebars. And if you want, sometimes the most comfortable ride is just handlebars in line with your seat. So that's a good rule of thumb. If you're newer and you feel like you're pitched forward a little bit, you're gonna wanna raise those handlebars up and again, tighten them down to make sure that they're not moving anywhere during class. When you are riding, a lot of bikes also have a saddle that can go front and back. So if you are going to adjust that, you again just need to loosen it up and you can move it either front or back. You want to make sure when you're riding that when you come to a parallel pedal position with your feet at the pedals, your knee is in line with your ankle. You always want to have your knee in line with your ankle. If ever you're pushing over, you're gonna hyperextend or pulling back, and you're gonna injure your knee, so you never want that to happen. Also, when you're working with your handlebars, you wanna make sure that you've got a comfortable distance between you and the handlebars, that your elbows are nice and light, you're not extending and not too close to your handlebars. So you want to have a nice easy ride and feel comfortable in doing so. The other tip I'm going to give you is when you are riding for the first time, the most important thing is to sit your booty back on the saddle as far as you can. If you ride really narrow up on the front of the saddle, you're going to be extremely saddle sore the next day. So I'm not saying that you're not going to be saddle sore anyway, because you will be, and that does go away with time and it does get easier. But you want to make sure that your rump is hanging off the back as far as you can go to make sure that you're on most of the cushion rather than the hard part. Some bikes have a computer like this one does, some don't. So we'll gauge it from light resistance, moderate to heavy. And then you just control the dial. Sometimes your resistance dial is going to be a knob up here, sometimes it's going to be a wheel that you turn, and you control that dial. The most important thing to remember is before you stand up, that you turn up your resistance so that you don't spin out of control, because when you stand, you have that added force coming with you, so you want to make sure that you've got your resistance first, then you can stand and turn it down if you need. The other thing I'm going to say, because a lot of people ask, there are options as far as the pedal goes. I've got my resistance up. So, if you're gonna clip in right up here on top, you need to have cycle shoes, and you need to have what's called an SPD clip. So you can find those. If you don't have cycle shoes, don't worry about it. You're just gonna wanna make sure that you pull this nice and tight so your foot's not gonna fly out or go anywhere. You also wanna make sure that the ball of your foot isn't jammed front in your cage, but resting in the middle of the clip. You don't want to point your toes straight down, because then the blood is going to rush to your feet. You're going to get tingly sensation and it's going to be really uncomfortable. So other things before you come to a cycle class, make sure you have a towel, because you will sweat, you will work, and then bottle of water. And don't be afraid to get off your bike during the class to get some more water if you need it. Most important thing is to stay hydrated. So I hope that helps. Come try a cycle class either with me or an instructor in your area, and have a fabulous weekend.